Ngayon po ay nagbabalik, kasama pa rin po natin si Ariel Ayala, si Ambassador Encomienda at saka si Boots Valdez. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay ang naging decision po ng Permanent Court of Arbitration kung saan po nanalo ang Pilipinas. Lilinawin lang po natin, no? Dito po sa panel na ito, wala po ditong traitor sa bayan, no? Wala po ritong
trending sa tayo niyan.
wala po ritong maka-Amerikano, wala maka-Inchik, maka-Pilipino, lahat ang nandito, no? Intindihin po natin. May dalawang issue. Magkahiwalay pero magkakabit. Yung conflict ng Pilipinas at saka ng China dito po sa mga marine features and territories sa Spratlys na pinag-usapan. Yan po nandiyan. Mas malaking issue po yung rivalry po ng China at saka ng Amerika for dominance of the South China Sea and the world. Yan po ang kwan. Huwag po tayo magkamali na ikabit natin yung away nila sa away natin, no? Dapat ang solusyon po sa problema natin ay atin lang na hindi po kasali sila. Pero ang nahalata ko, gusto nilang mangyari ng mga dayuhan na yung Pilipinas ilagay dito sa gitna ng kalang away para malito po tayong mga Pilipino. Huwag tayong malilito. Hindi po tayo kasali diyan. Okay. Ngayon, dumulog po tayo doon sa Hague. Nanalo tayo. Ang tanong, ano ba ang pinanalo natin? Na sinasabi ng Inchik, matagal na namin sinasabi na hindi kami kasali diyan sa arbitration na yan. Napakinggan na po natin yung arbitration. Dapat yung dalawang hindi nagkakasundo, yung pupunta sa isang tao na ayusin nyo kami. Kasi hindi kami nagkakaintindihan. Gusto namin magkaintindihan, ayusin nyo kami. Okay. Pero ito, isa lang ang pumunta doon. Yung isa, ayaw ko, hindi ako kasali diyan. Kasi mukhang tagilid ang usapan diyan. So yun. Yun po ang dapat malinaw po niyan. Itatanong ko kay Ambassador, magkano ba ang nagastos dito? At sino ang gumastos dito?
Okay. But Senator, with your permission, I'd like to take up from Mr. Ayala's point about the tripwire. No? Kasi mukhang lumalabas din yan, which is in the Korean Peninsula. Now, the thing is, kanino ba, yung tripwire sa Korea, putting in U.S. forces there, against whom is it, you know? It's not China. It is against North Korea. Now, dito sa atin, kung maglalagay tayo ng tripwire, bakit tayo maglalagay ng tripwire? Hindi naman tayo kalaban ng China. So, that I want to just point that out. And going back to the matter of the costs, as I said earlier, for me, there is a gap here in terms of transparency because it seems in the newspaper reports parang it's like going to a domestic court na halos wala kang gastos, no, kung complainant ka, ganun. Pero in the format of the arbitration, under the rules of arbitration, the costs have to be split between the parties to the arbitration. Now, nakaisa tayo dyan. So, under the rules, we will be shouldering the cost of the arbitrators, and there are 5 of them. We will be shouldering the cost of running the secretariat, of course, and we will be shouldering the cost of the experts and other amicus curiae that the court might summon. Now, this is what I want to know. I have not read this in the papers, and I have not seen it in the budget of the government. So it must be coming from somewhere. We don't know, and I don't want to. Yes, I have no information on that.
So, pwede ba itong galing sa Malampaya?
Of course, wala akong direct information about that, but from the scuttlebutt around is a lot of the expenses, including the internal propaganda natin, which is malakas, doon daw yan napupunta sa Malampaya funds. Now, I don't know. Maybe that is something the media should bring out, you know, as to where are we getting the money to spend for this thing. Isang bagay lang. Nung opening part ng hearing sa jurisdiction sa The Hague, there were 53 or maybe 50 from the Philippine side who went, and these are high-level officials. Ginagastuhan lahat yan sa airfares, hotel, and everything. So in that event alone, how much did we spend?
Yeah. Paano po tayo makakawala sa parang kumunoy, quicksand, itong problemang ito, na portray na kalaban natin ng China at na portray na kaibigan ng US? We have an enemy that we cannot fight and a friend that we cannot love.
Well, the answer to that question is the new administration, how it handles and how it plays out with the new administration. It will have to, that is a difficult, thing to answer for us now, really, how it plays out to the present administration, which is less than 10 days old.
And also, maybe we have to define who the true enemies are and who the true friends are, in this particular case. Again, going back to Ariel's question, what if, ano bang masama kung nasa likod natin ang mga kano, no? Wala naman talagang masama. Di ba? Pero mas mabuti siguro kung nasa likod natin ng kano at nandyan din sa likod natin ang bansang China, no? Dahil ang kano wala nang kakayanan na tumulong sa ating ekonomiya, pero ang China kayang-kaya pa po tayong tulungan, no? At ang mga pangangailangan po ng ating bayan ay napakalaki. Meron pong mga ibang tao nagpupumilit na kinakailangan daw sa ganitong klaseng sitwasyon sa mundo, hindi pwedeng hindi tayo kakampi sa isa at kakalabanin ang iba, no? Hindi po ako sang-ayon dyan sa ganyang klaseng pag-iisip. Lalong-lalo na po sa kasalukuyan mga nangyayari and the current situation right now going on in the world, no? If we are not, the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea is not the world, no? There is something else going on, no, in other parts of the world, no, that have a direct bearing to what is going on here. Not just in the physical aspect or geopolitical aspect, but also in the global economic aspect. Everything is starting to go down, no? And it is going to move, as probably certain people in the United States understand, it is going to move the world into more and greater conflict. Now, the only greater conflict that we're afraid of, no, are those that have the capability of using thermonuclear weapons, no? And we have only a very few of them, no? And if we are caught in the middle, or even worse, used as a military base by one against another, no, then we will suffer. Our whole duty as patriotic Filipinos, and the duty of all Filipinos for that matter, is to see to it, no, that our country is somewhat saved from this conflict. And there is a possibility that we can do it. It all depends on the clear understanding of the situation and how we will manipulate ourselves away from it, no? Others, however, have already pledged allegiance unofficially to another superpower versus another, no? And to those people who claim to be Filipinos, I call them traitors at this point, no? And they are, the ones that are moving towards the destruction and putting 100 million lives at risk.
Anong maaari natin gawin at this point?
Well, right now, if we're going to negotiate, the first aspect of our negotiation must be in all levels with China. There is nothing to negotiate with the United States. The United States wants us to take a very antagonistic position against China, precisely to create that tripwire, no? That the Philippines must create that tripwire, not putting China on the other side. And we should not fall into that trap and instead go into a negotiation with them. The only solution to a possible global conflict is what is being proposed, a global infrastructure development participated by all countries that are involved in the AIIB and the BRICS Bank. That is the solution. Development versus war. No? And the more countries go into this direction, maybe we have a chance at world peace.
Paano tayo makakawala dito sa laro ng malalaki? Of course, ang US may Pilipinas. Ang China may Pakistan. Para maliglig ang India. Ang India may Vietnam. Nagbebenta sila ng Brahmos. Para maliglig ang China. Ang Russia may Vietnam. Just in case, inaway sila ng China. Ang China, nagtayo ng Silk Road to counterweight yung influence ng Russia over Vietnam. Mukhang hindi lang US ang naglalaro dito.
Now, you're talking of different periods and different era, no?
No,
right
ngayon.
now, right now,
So hindi na ngayon yun.
right now, China and Russia are already connected both economically and politically, and even militarily, it seems. No? They have already reached an accord that this direction must be proposed by both Russia and China, which is what? Global Infrastructure Development Program. That is their counter-proposal to the possibility of war. Where do the countries fall into now? There are certain elements among the Western countries that are pushing us to war. No? But there are still many other countries that don't want it. No? So we must take heed of this situation and warn our people. No? This is not just a question of Scarborough Shoals. This is not just a question of livelihood of fishermen. This is a question of 100 million Filipino lives.
Ambassador, you want to say something?
Yes, I think we're close to the end of the program. I just want to say something which I've been wanting to point out in regard to our victory in the arbitration. Because you see, as under our triple action plan and under the submissions to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, if we win the arbitration, and we did, that will indirectly invalidate the 9-dash line of China, and that will narrow the area of dispute. Kasi wala na yung 9-dash line of China. My difficulty with that line is that it's true, even if China accepts the arbitration and erases the 9-dash line, it may result in narrowing the area of conflict, but it has widened the issues. I mean, we have narrowed the area of conflict, but what is the result of the arbitration? All the other claimant countries, they're talking about protecting their sovereignty. Even Taiwan is sending their battleships warships to Itoaba. And Indonesia is displaying its military might, and so is Vietnam. So what happens here? Yes, we have narrowed the area of the scope of the disputes, but we have widened the dispute itself. Thank you, Mr. Senator.
Ariel?
Siguro tanong natin kay Coach kung paano ito mariresolve na walang putok na magaganap.
You cannot use just the Philippines as the point of resolution. The threat of a thermonuclear war is global. Therefore, we have to approach it also from that concept and bring the issues higher than just the Scarborough issues. We have to bring it up as to and ask, do we as part of the human race want to go into war with each other, or do we want to go into a cooperative effort of all nation states for global infrastructure development? These are the choices that are being given to all of us. And President Duterte is in a very unique position because his position with regard to this is going to be a very significant one, despite the fact that we are a small country. And if he sides with the kind of moral courage that he can master, if he sides for global development, no, it would be an inspiration to many other countries to move that way towards global cooperation.
One last question. What do you think of the proposed plan to send FBR to China to start the negotiations?
This was a decision. I don't know if this was an actual decision of President Duterte, but understanding the background of Fidel V. Ramos, he may have to ask permission from the U.S. State Department to go to China.
Yes, I suppose if he asks it, it will be granted. No, FBR is supposed to be behind the appointment of the of the security cluster in the Duterte cabinet. So he stands on very solid ground. Pero that's an independent issue that we will have to discuss in another segment of this program. Sorry to say, naubusan na po tayo ng panahon. Muli kaming magpapasalamat ni Ariel sa ating mga bisita, kay Ambassador Encomienda, kay Boots Valdez, at sa inyo pong lahat sa walang sawang pagsubaybay sa ating programa. Pero pag-isipan po natin itong mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Bilang Pilipino po, hindi bilang maka-Amerikano o bilang maka-Inchik, kundi bilang Pilipino lang po. Yun ang ating bandila. Wala po tayong tunay na kaibigan, kundi ating sarili dito sa ating bayan. Hanggang po sa susunod na linggo, ito muli, si Kitatad sa ating programa, Una sa Lahat.